Before meeting Terran King, Luin encounters the Dean while walking through the hallway. This unexpected encounter leaves Luin feeling a bit confused. The Dean, too, seems a bit perplexed upon seeing Luin. Luin politely greets the Dean with respect, and the Dean, understanding Luin's reason for being there, suggests accompanying him. As they enter Terran's room, a radiant pink portal-like gate catches Luin's eye, illuminating the surroundings. Excitedly, Luin steps inside, his attention drawn to various objects around the room. Unbeknownst to him, Terran is seated right in front of him. Terran welcomes him, seated regally on a throne, holding a crystal ball in his hand. The room is bathed in the glow of countless candles, and a red carpet enhances the enchanting atmosphere. Upon seeing Terran, Strang is filled with a sense of awe. Terran's presence exudes an aura of mysterious magical powers, intriguing Strabg. Curiosity piqued, Strang asks Luin if he possesses the abilities of a dragon, as his magical powers feel quite unusual to Strang. Luin feels a slight sweat breaking out on his brow upon seeing Terran for the first time, sensing a slight unease. He also suspects that Terran is on the verge of becoming a half-dragon, but he cannot respond to Strang's questions at this moment, so he remains silent. Terran, exuding confidence as he sits on his throne, displays a gleam in his eyes that reflects his capabilities. Terran leads Luin to the dining table first, where a variety of dishes are laid out, tempting anyone who lays eyes on them. As they enjoy their meal, Terran mentions to Luin that while others may not know much about him, Terran himself is familiar with him. He goes on to say, "I have seen you from afar once before." Luin finds Terran's revelation both strange and intriguing. While calmly dining beside him, he listens intently to the conversation between Terran and Strang. Terran explains to Luin that 5 years ago, he was searching for 11 candidates, and Luin was among them. This information comes as a shock to Luin, as he had never heard this before from anyone. Feeling bewildered, he looks towards the Dean to confirm this revelation. Terran's direct questioning about Luin's experiences in the past 5 years makes Luin realize that Terran might not be aware of his current situation. Luin's focused attention on Terran's words hints at his understanding. Terran's inquiry also prompts Luin to acknowledge that his current circumstances contradict the foresight of the boundary mages. However, Luin remains silent, contemplating how to respond to Terran's probing questions. Luin's acknowledgement of the importance of his words leads him to apologize to Terran and express his limitations in what he can reveal to the Mage King. Despite Terran's perception that Luin may not be speaking openly, Luin responds with confidence, indicating that even if his abilities have been recognized, his efforts may not have been fully appreciated or acknowledged. Terran's disappointment grows upon hearing Luin's response, and he questions whether Luin and the Dean are related because of their similar mannerisms. The Dean and Luin exchange smiles at this observation, with the Dean praising Luin for his qualities. However, Terran remains unsatisfied and presses further, asking about the efforts Luin has made if his talents have indeed been recognized. Upon hearing Terran's words, he responds by informing him that he is currently interested in learning martial arts. Terran also seems surprised by Luin's response, so, to overcome the emission disorder, you trained in martial arts, and thanks to that, you became as strong as an ogre, that you can now cast magic without a casting time. Are you asking me to believe this? Or is it just another defect after all? But I've never heard of such an artifact. Dean responds from Luin's perspective, saying, "Well, something like that." After hearing Dean's words, Terran couldn't say anything further, so I understand his point and reassure him that many opportunities will come in the future, and he should keep an eye on Luin. Luin doesn't seem pleased with the conversation, but he sits quietly and listens. Later, Terran tells him, "Your efforts, I wonder if it even applies to my children." Luin, upon hearing this, starts smiling softly and says politely, "Please continue to watch over me." Feeling curious himself, he stands up from his chair, And both Taron and Dean look at him attentively, listening carefully to what he's talking about. Luin continues to provoke Taron by saying, "It's about how different the Mage King's chosen son is from me." While saying this, there's a unique spark in his eyes, and he doesn't show any fear whatsoever, which is something people usually feel in Taron's presence. Upon hearing this, Taron gets angry, but he doesn't show it on his face. Meanwhile, in the stadium, people are shouting and cheering excitedly for the start of a new match. Everyone is eager for the match. After Luin leaves, Dean and Taron sit down to talk. Taron asks the Dean, "Are you worried I might devour your student?" Meanwhile, their maid brings tea for them. Dean assures Taron that there's no need to worry because such a thing won't happen. With a smile, Taron tells the Dean that talented individuals like him are always welcome in his home and clarifies that he was just curious about Luin. Upon hearing this, the Dean asks if his curiosity has been satisfied now. Taking a sip from his teacup, Taron enjoys the delightful aroma while listening attentively. Then, addressing the Dean, he inquires if there's any secret being kept from him. Alongside, he mentions that a new curiosity has sparked within him. The Dean then asks how this curiosity arose within him. With a smile, Taron speaks, "Haven't you heard? That audacious fellow subtly warning me." As they converse with each other, the Dean remarks with fondness, "Isn't he still just a child? Look at him with fondness." Taron, in response, tells the Dean that when Luin was talking to him, there was no sign of intimidation on his face. Instead, if it were someone else, they would have been figured out just by standing there. Hence, Taron has started to feel amusingly human to him. Additionally, he hopes that Luin will become even more interesting in the future. On the other hand, in the stadium, all the spectators cheer loudly to welcome Doom Prime for his upcoming match. Doom Prime's companions also exude a different kind of confidence when they're with him, chanting only his name for that boost of confidence. However, Doom himself doesn't seem to care much about all these things, calmly moving forward. Suddenly, from behind, one of his companions rushes towards him, shouting his name with a sense of panic. Doom Prime is unable to comprehend his friend's anxiety. And when the boy whispers something softly into his ear, something that drains the color from Doom Prime's face, which moments ago was brimming with confidence, everyone falls silent upon hearing it. Doom's teammate tells him about the encounter with Luin and Taron. Hearing this, Doom Prime struggles to trust his words. However, his teammate assures him, stating that he has seen it with his own eyes. A feeling of jealousy and anger starts to brew within Doom Prime upon hearing this. Doom Prime recalls the messages about Luin he had seen earlier, discussing how he's causing a stir in the tournament and how dealing with his unique magic is quite challenging. But Doom Prime had never paid much attention to those discussions before. He also thinks that no matter how well Luin performs or how high he rises, he will never consider him as his opponent. Doom Prime is walking through the hall towards the stadium for his match, but his mind is still occupied with thoughts of Luin and how Taron praised him. This jealousy is consuming him, and in a fit of rage, he strikes his hand against the wall, causing it to break and blood to start flowing from his hand. Some of his companions who are walking ahead turn back upon hearing the noise, feeling puzzled by the strange sound. They start asking about his condition, concerned about what happened. Doom Prime, however, is completely ignoring their words because his mind is solely focused on the thought of never forgiving Luin. His belief is that he alone deserves approval from Taron, and this is fueling his anger even further. His thoughts are not something pleasant to hear, and you'll find out more in the next video, so make sure to subscribe to our channel.